A top opposition lawmaker has assumed presidential powers in Ukraine after a week of deadly violence in the capital of Kiev. It's not clear where President Viktor Yanukovych is right now and whether he has any legitimate hold on power. Joining us now with the very latest is CCTV's Jack Barton, live in Kiev. Jack.
That's right, Susan. As you mentioned, we've seen big steps forward with the formation of that new interim government today, a number of new ministerial positions, but the most important, as you said, was the new interim Prime Minister, Alexander Turchinov, who is a close ally of Yulia Tymoshenko, who was released from jail yesterday after 2.5 years of being in prison. Now, he also immediately set out what he saw were the key goals forward for Ukraine, which is, again, getting that trade and diplomatic deal with the EU back on track, so lurching very much towards Western Europe there. He talked about a new relationship with Russia on an equal partnership, and he wanted to do something to address immediately what he called the catastrophic economy on the verge of default. So a very clear agenda there. You know, this also raises suspect of being an ally of Tymoshenko running for president, something that is still a very divisive issue here, even though she is popular within the circles of Russian politics as well as within the EU. As for President Yanukovych, nobody knows really where he is. Closed-circuit television footage has emerged purporting to show him fleeing with his entourage from his house the other night in a van and a helicopter, but it's believed he could be in eastern Ukraine. Nobody is even sure if he is still in the country. What does seem clear, though, is he is no longer in charge. It is fair to say regime change has happened here.
Jack, what's been the reaction in the areas of Ukraine that historically had been more pro-Russian, like the Crimean regime?
Well, that's right. Some of those areas we've seen standoffs. They've turned out to be a little bit more mixed than was anticipated. We've seen standoffs between the anti-Yanukovych demonstrators and the pro-Russian demonstrators, but the real flashpoint, Susan, has been in the Crimea. As you mentioned, today in Kiev, we saw a mob essentially attack the mayor and policemen who were trying to defend the Ukrainian flag there. They ended up giving way. They tore down that flag, the crowd, and they raised the Russian flag instead. And there's even a civic group there that have been calling for Russian military intervention, something the White House today said would be a grave mistake. But really, Russia doesn't even have to go that far. It can raise gas prices, it can cut off desperately needed financial aid, it can cut gas supplies, desperately needed gas supplies altogether, as it has done in the past. So it has a number of ways of responding without actually sending in troops. But now that the Sochi Games have wrapped up, we're expecting to see what Russia's response will be. Everyone will be waiting to see on Monday if there is some sort of comment from Vladimir Putin, the Russian president.
Jack Barton reporting live for us. Thank you for that.